Before we look ahead at 2016, let's quickly revisit last season. Even though you ended the year with a 23-8 overall record and were ranked 10th in the final ABCA poll, your club was left out of the NCAA Division II class for the first time in your 14-year head coaching reign here. Looking back now, some 8 months later, do you see that being a motivational piece or tool for your returning veterans?
Well, it certainly will serve as motivation to try to get back into that position where we're under consideration and hopefully get selected again. But ultimately, with as young as we are and with the new faces we have in our gym, we have bigger concerns initially, which is trying to piece the parts together to replace those who we lost and develop some new team chemistry and culture. And we got to continue to get to work here and be ready for our first weekend.
And looking at the 2016 roster, it's hard to not notice that for the first time since 2011, you don't have a starting center by the name of Ashley Hench listed. How much did the four-time All-American mean to this team, and how pivotal is that position to the success of this program?
It's critically important to the success of the program, which is certainly going to be one of the big undertakings here over the first 3 weeks and even for the duration of our season, and in establishing our starting setter and in developing the continuity and chemistry on the offensive side of the ball with that setter. So that's the biggest challenge we face for sure this year. Ashley certainly goes down as one of the best, if not the best setter in UMD volleyball history, and so to say we have to replace her is kind of silly, like trying to think back to replacing Kate Lang or Julie Rainey. You don't replace those people. You just got to do your best to try to fill some of the gaps that their departures leave, and we've got to continue to work really hard to do that.
You welcome back 3 starters in Novero from a year ago. Let's start off first by talking about those 4 individuals. Sarah Kelly, Tara Wisbroker, Sydney Mock, and Erin Schindler. What do they bring to this team this year?
A lot of skill level, a lot of talent, very dynamic athletes. We expect some big things out of Sarah in her sophomore year here. Last year she was kind of one of the pieces to the puzzle, but certainly not the main piece with Mariah Scharf carrying that load. And now this year I feel like Sarah's going to be a much bigger piece to what we do offensively. Taylor has gotten nothing but better throughout her duration and has really met and even surpassed some of the expectations we had of her coming in, and we look for big things out of her this year. Sydney, is in our redshirt senior year here and has been with us a long time and has come back ready to go, is in great shape, and is really being a great leader for us out on and off the court. And she anticipates capping her career with a really good senior campaign. And Erin Schindler is one of the best ball control players we've ever had in this program, and she steps in day one being one of the steadying forces in our program and can do a great job from the serve, receive, and defensive standpoint to really stabilize what we need to do.
Talk about replacements. Who do you see taking over then the 3 other starting spots?
At the middle position, replacing Monica Turner, we have Allison Oley, who's been with us here now for 3 years, and she is certainly going to be the lead candidate right off the get-go. But we do have a freshman, Abby Thor, who's going to give her a good run here as well. Abby comes from a great junior Olympic and high school background and comes in, ready to contribute early. We have another freshman, Bailey Ramick, who's been working hard and training hard, but we've got some development there still to do. So I really think Allison and Abby are going to be in a great battle throughout the year to try to fill that void. On the outside, you don't replace Mariah because she was 7th in the country in kills last year, but we have a junior in Megan Normby who's going to fight for that opportunity. We have a transfer who came in here from a Division I institution, Mackenzie Morgan, who has certainly melded well right away and is contributing in all facets of the game to our program, and she's going to make a good run. And then our incoming freshman, Hannah Meyer, has done a great job so far, probably the surprise of camp and what she's been able to do, and she's going to get nothing but better and stronger as she develops in our program. So, that's going to be a great competition to watch, and I like the depth that we have there this year. And then at setter, we have 2 setters back, our redshirt freshman, Emily Torvey, who has gotten quite a bit of experience now between spring and this fall training camp and is doing a good job, but still has a lot of learning and growing to do. And then our junior setter, Sarah Hesacker, who is someone who came into the program with a lot of the heart, desire to work hard and really help make our team better, and has done a great job of doing that. And she's going to give Emily a battle, and it's going to be fun to watch those 2 compete.
Briefly, you talked about the youth. What is it that your team's going to have to do well to succeed?
We're certainly going to have to ball control and defend better than we did last year. We replaced all 3 of our main pieces from the ball control standpoint last fall, and it was an ongoing struggle throughout the year to really get to the point where we needed to be successful. We return the majority of that now this year. You know, with what we graduated last year, we didn't graduate a major ball control piece comparatively to the year before. So that's got to get better. We've got to be stronger defensively to really be able to extend points and have a better chance of doing well. At the same time, we need our offense to continue to be effective and high level. And, you know, those are big shoes to fill, given last year, you know, we were second in the country in kills and first in assists and hit for a very high percentage. I think it's going to take us a while to get to that point. There's going to be some ups and downs throughout the year, but I think the pieces are there for that to potentially be something that we can eventually strive to get to.
As expected, the NSC's title race should be another free-for-all. The Bulldogs were projected to finish third this fall by the league coaches in their preseason poll. Is that a fair prediction, in your opinion?
Oh boy, it's hard to say. I mean, I think they got it right at the top. You know, Concordia returns everybody and is a perennial powerhouse, and you expect to see them at the top of the poll. From there, there's so many good teams now in this league. You can't argue that it's the deepest league, the most talented league in the country. And so some of the who's who of teams that have been there many times in the past, the Southwest, the Waynes, right back up in the mix again. That doesn't surprise me. But then you see teams like Northern and Augustana and Winona, who are all great teams, who've all gotten significantly better over the years, return a ton of talent. And so I just think it makes for an incredible race in the NSIC. And the depth that we have, and night in and night out, you're going to see some great battles.
Do you see any sleepers? Anybody that from maybe the lower division moving up?
I think Joe McCartney at Sioux Falls has done a great job accumulating some great young talent there. And, you know, we went there last year, and even though they were struggling at the time, they gave us everything we can handle. And you know, watching how they did at the end of the year, I would imagine they're going to make a nice little run here. And, you know, there's some programs who have turned over some personnel or even coaching staffs, and those are some unknowns. So that's kind of the fun part of this, is seeing those teams that you're not really sure where they're going to be. And, you know, 2-3 weeks in, you start getting a better feel for how it's going to look and who's going to be where. And, you know, you got to earn it on the court. That's the important part.
You touched on this, but for the last 7 or 8 years, the NSIC has been, if not the premier league in NCAA Division of volleyball. National polls are always a testament to that. Why do you think that is? What makes this conference so strong in volleyball?
I think there's a couple facets to it. I think the volleyball in the upper Midwest is a lot stronger than people realize. You know, Minnesota, Wisconsin, the Dakotas, Iowa, Nebraska, that's a pocket of real strength in volleyball in this country. And if kids want to stay closer to home, we're great options in the NSIC. You know, in Minnesota, you only have one Division I institution. And there are many players out there that are high-level players that maybe aren't Big Ten high-level but are very talented, but don't want to make that trip to a Division I somewhere else throughout the country and decide to stay closer to home. And I think some of it has just continued to, like a snowball going downhill. You see the strength of the league, and so better players want to be a part of that, which increases the level of talent in our league, which continues to increase the talent, and ultimately you see it get as strong and as deep as it is.
And one last question. Again, you took over this head coaching job a couple of years after the return to Century a while ago. What are some of the changes that are most noticeable from the time that you started here?
In our program or in volleyball?
Volleyball in general.
In the program, you know, I just think the athletes have gotten bigger, faster, stronger across the country. I think, again, the competition level, the balance of depth and talent in the NSIC is incredible, and it's certainly a challenge night in and night out on the court and behind the scenes to continue to stay where you want to be in this conference. From a program standpoint, you know, I just think we've come a long way in developing the culture of what we wanted when we got here day one, and I think the consistency of our coaching staff and our vision along the way has allowed us to continue to do some things that we've wanted to do, while at the same time the roadblocks continue to build up, and you got to continue to work really hard to get better every day with things in your program, on the court, off the court, and that continues to be a challenge.
And one more last question. Pretty cool to see your predecessor working the officiating at the one.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. I mean, Patty is a who's who in the sport of volleyball, and you know, did great things as a player and set records as a player at North Dakota State, and then has done great things in her coaching career, and is now, you know, one of the premier officials in the world. And so to see her doing Olympic matches and then being able to see her when I'm recruiting an event in the cities and still be able to have that camaraderie with her and communicate with her. And to see her coaching at the junior Olympic level down in Milwaukee, it's neat to see how much she's giving back to the game still and how she's made a life out of the game of volleyball. And, I certainly think she's done a great job in representing women in our sport.
Thanks, Coach. Tell me that wasn't the best interview you've ever